Cool. Well, hi everyone who is following. I'm Jess from DCL, and today we have some really awesome guests. So first I would like to introduce Matt Andrews, who is usually known as being the commentator for DCL since the beginning of DCL. So Matt is DCL essentially. Our face, our voice. It's Matt.
Oh.
And as special guest pilots tonight, we have some really awesome guests. So first, Alex Zamora, Alex FPV from XBlades Racing, and joining us from Spain. Whereabouts? You are in Spain, right, Alex?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
From Cuenca.
And we also have Tomass Petersons, who was previously with Apex. Well, actually, no, you'll tell us about that later. But who is currently German Sports Global and coming to us from Latvia.
Hello, guys.
So it's
nice
really
to be with you guys, huh?
It's an absolute pleasure to have all of you on What the Quad by DCL.
Welcome back, Jess. Got to say welcome back to Jess over here, who's finally back with What the Quad. Can't do that without you.
I try. Just so it's out of the way, I know I look like a cat. That's because it's Halloween, and I like dressing up for Halloween, and I like cats. Cool. Next question.
No, let's just talk about that.
What
else do you dress up as at Halloween, Jess?
I'm really not sure this is an appropriate question. I'm one of those people for Halloween, so
okay.
I'm just not gonna go there. I hope you guys all dress up this weekend. I'm really hoping that you guys for the race, because you have like the race cams obviously when you're all racing, and the DCL team have slipped a memo to like I know you, Matt, and the team captain, the coaches, managers and stuff, to get everyone to dress up if you can, because it would be kind of like a fun Halloween themed thing, especially for those of us who can't go party. But yeah, anyway,
that's the first I've heard of it, Jess, honestly.
Okay, well, Matt, if you want to show up with little cat ears, I can send these to you.
Do it. I know some of our Women's Cup pilots were going to send me some ears a long time ago, but they never made it. That wasn't for Halloween, that was...
I know Macariatra, she has like her headphones are like pink with little cat ears on them, which is pretty awesome as well. But besides the point, so this weekend is Halloween, but also more importantly, DCL is back with our third and fourth, wow, races of the season at Lax in Switzerland, which is a location that we've done in real life as well. Matt, you would know about this and maybe could tell us about it, but it will be some really exciting races. All of our usual pilots are back, the teams are back, and everyone is ready to send it. It's going to start on Saturday at 11 a.m. UTC, and then on Sunday at 11 a.m. UTC. One thing to note, very important, is that this weekend is daylight savings. For most countries, I don't know, some countries don't do daylight savings, so if you don't, ignore this PSA. If you do, remember to change the time, which means that exactly. So the start for me, for example, in France, it will be on Saturday, the start will be at 1 p.m. and then on Sunday the start will be at 12 noon. So just make sure to mark that in your calendars. Matt, take it away. What happened in Lax in 2019?
Well, we started our season. So DCL's team racing had started back in 2017, like we were mentioning just now, in Paris, and we had a great live season in 2018 as well, going to some amazing places, including the Great Wall of China. 2019, we did the first time we've ever flown in the cold, so we raced on this mountain, which is Lax, which is a snow park in Switzerland, 2,252 meters above sea level, and that number will never leave me because I must have said it a ton of times during that event. And it was super exciting, beautiful as a mountain, big ski resort, longest half pipe in the world, certainly in Europe, maybe even in the world. And skiers all around us, stuff happening, and in the middle of it, we took over a bit of the ski resort and did our first race of our first two races because we were racing all weekend in Switzerland, and we'd never been in those sort of conditions before. You know, we'd been underground, we'd been at the Great Wall of China and stuff like that, but we'd never been in the cold. And when the sun went down on that mountain, the temperature, as you would know if you've ever been skiing or so on, absolutely crashed. Like, the temperature just fell. Tomass, you were there. That was your first time with the DCL, so you had the whole experience that weekend.
Yeah, Tomass, tell us about that.
It was my first race ever in DCL. And the first season I was with Drone Sports Global, and it was before Apex. And it was actually a really good experience for me, and especially it's like in Lax in the mountains, and never been in such mountains ever. And it was tough for drones, especially because the weather wasn't so friendly to drones, so flying straight wasn't an easy option. But actually Lax was one of my biggest highlights of that season, because my first heat ever was against Collins. I think he was. I believe he was MVP of previous season.
Yeah.
And
he and Luke tied it between them. Yeah.
Yeah. And winning that first race against him was pretty special, I think, for me. And if I'm right, I think we managed to get second place in the first day or the second day. But either way, it was a really good experience, and I loved it.
Yeah, we had two races, separate events on Saturday and the Sunday, and I'm thinking back and and also checking my stats in front of me as well. But yeah, because we had 4 different teams in the finals, and XBlades, your guys, Alex, but I know you weren't there, Alex. XBlades won the first day, but then Veloce, who we now know as Supersonic X, they came and won Sunday, and I'm pretty sure you were in the final with them.
Yeah. Now I remember. It was the finals in the second day. The night against Koreans, the Veloce, and they were like, their pace was so much faster. If I would be in truth, And but we still made a good race there, and it was fun to race there. I'm not gonna lie.
Alex, when did you join DCL?
Hello?
When did you join? So you were flying from XBlades. Were you already part of the team in 2019?
I had been in XBlades for a long time, since I was 9 years old, more or less.
Oh wow!
Yes. As my boss saw that I had qualities, and he joined the team to run DCL the race.
That's amazing. Wow, Alex is for someone so young, you have so much experience. That's insane.
Yeah, Alex, you raced as a little bit of the 2018 season, didn't you? As free flow, XBlades free flow.
Yes.
Yeah. Was it free flow? Is that right?
Yes.
That doesn't sound quite right. Yeah. Before your time, Jess, we 2018 XBlades were fielding 2 teams. So they had XBlades, who were called NextBlades at the time, and then they had a sister team called Free Flow, who were young pilots that were being given a chance to show what they could do. Nate, no, it wasn't Firefly. Or was it Firefly? Oh, Nate, you might be onto something there.
Yeah, I think it was Firefly though. Yeah.
That rings a bell. That rings more of a bell. Yeah. So we had you. We had Anne Blackburn. We had Wanraya Wanapong, who's the women's world champion, and she was racing with us when she was 11, I think. And we had Ashton Gamble when he was tiny little Ashton Gamble, superstar
baby
pilot.
Ashton.
He'll hate me for saying that. Yeah, Alex, you guys were great, and you were on the stage in Munich, where we opened our 2018 season when we raced in the Munich Olympic Park. You were there on the stage in the middle of the lake. You remember it?
Yeah, I remember more or less, but yes.
So how did it feel to race in real life? What kind of was that like, racing for DCL? Do you enjoy racing for DCL? Does anyone in the Twitch chat speak Spanish? Can maybe help me out here.
Yep, we'll get there.
We will. How did you...
Alex!
Oh, yep. Sorry, go on, Matt.
Go on, Jess.
So you started when you were 9, Alex, right?
Yep. No, at 8 years old.
Okay.
I started. Yep.
8?
How did you start drone racing? What started it?
Yeah, it all started at Christmas when I asked for it. From there on, I started going to train every day. When I had been 15 years old, I went to my first championship, Spain championship, and from there on, I started the streak of winning nationality and internationality championship.
Wow, what a career! So young. And to think when I was that age, I was not doing international competition. I barely remember. Yeah, when did you start, Tomass?
I mean, I remember that Alex, the first time I met Alex, like when I really remembered him, was in Turkey in 2019, if I'm correct. And I didn't know him before that much, but in 19, I believe he got in finals, and he was like so fast. I didn't know him before, but like in that race, he proved that he's like damn fast and proved everyone, and he got in finals between the fastest pilots in the world. So I think 19 was when I first met him. Yeah, that was really cool though. Yeah. And yeah, well, I'm sorry, Jess, what was the question?
When did you start? How did you start? When did you start?
Oh, I started, I believe it was 4 or 5 years ago when I just started having interest in drones.
I thought you meant when you were 4.
Yeah, I was like, what?
No. 4 years ago. No. When I was 4, there were no drones existing at the moment, except army drones maybe. But yeah, it was 4 to 5 years ago, and it started with just an interest in drones like itself, not like racing drones, but just drones. And I built my first drone when I started studying in university, and yeah, it was just a normal drone with a gimbal under it, just for filming and stuff. Spent all my summer money on it, which I grinded, and yeah, the first flight was successful, but the second flight was not having a failsafe on it, like failsafe system. So I got to fly 2 times with it, and the second time it was just crashed down, and all the hard work in summer just went out. And it was actually my brother. We built it together, but yeah. So after that, we understood we had to start with something smaller, and we found that found a video actually on the internet where there were like pilots racing in the woods and LEDs on, like really old video, and we wanted to understand what is it, and it's like racing drones, and it's cheaper and more durable. So yeah, then we started building our first race drones, like yeah, wooden frames, even like not real carbon, just some like glued wood which we stamped motors on, some big ESC 4-in-1. That time was 4-in-1 ESCs weren't small, and yeah, that's how the passion started for it. Like being in the air, it just was amazing, even if you couldn't fly between two trees 10 meters apart. But yeah.
Do you still have any of these wooden drones?
I had the frame somewhere, but I had a picture actually. I lost that wooden drone. It was not that big. It was like this one, like this size, and I lost it somewhere. And then I put posters with an image on lost drone, reward 10 euros, blah blah blah, and I posted it around the city, and and I actually found it after 2 days, and yeah, but I don't have the picture though, but sadly, but maybe another time in the next interview, but I will remember.
I mean, maybe for your... Oh, sorry, Matt.
No, I was just going to say, when we go back to racing in real life, and I'm saying when, not if, when we go back to racing in real life, please, Tomass, bring a wooden quad. And we'll just put it on the starting blocks, and we'll just see if anyone picks up on it.
Do you know, I was going to say, for the race on the weekend, you can get a poster printed of the picture at least, and put it as your background. And it's like humble beginnings, you know?
Yeah. My
wooden racing team.
I feel like we should make the prize now like a wooden drone, and so people can like... But that's not the prize.
Yeah, at that time, like, having a drone which flies was good, because 50% of times you couldn't even take off because the drone just went nuts in somewhere in the air. But like these days, it's a lot easier. Yeah.
And Alex, what would you say is a moment that that really excites you, something that you did in your kind of drone career that you're very proud of, where you're like, oh my god, wow, I achieved that?
My crisis moment? I have one crazy moment. Well, when the drone wounded my father in the hunt.
He hunted a drone?
Yeah.
What?
Tell us everything.
How did he hunt a drone?
The drone wounded my father in the hunt.
Oh, he got hurt by it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the drone
yeah.
flew really hard into his hand, right?
Yep.
Were you flying it, Alex?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, you flew it into your dad?
Yeah.
Okay, it's back to being a funny story again. That's alright.
Is he okay?
Yeah.
It's where we find out he's lost his hand, and it's not funny at all, isn't it?
Yeah. Is this why Tomass knows Spanish swear words? Is it because he saw your dad getting his hand hurt and he swore?
The whole Turkish championship, all I heard from Alex's dad was just one word. I don't know if I can tell here, but he was really trying to teach me this. I couldn't understand what does he mean by it, but Google Translate helped me. But yeah, it was like his dad is a funny guy, really funny guy.
Is your dad someone who you would say inspires you and helps you, Alex?
Yeah, my father helped me.
That's really nice that your family is supportive.
Yeah.
And Tomass, do you have a family that's kind of... Well, I mean, you were talking about, so your brother, does he also do racing now?
Yeah, it all started with my brother. Like he built actually the first racing drone, and after that I managed to build my first drone. Then we flew together, and we flew, I think, it has been 4 years, and we have traveled the world together in many World Drone Cups around the FI ones. We he actually was already also in Lax 2019 as a mechanic to help our team.
Oh, wow.
So he supported a lot throughout this journey, and had to say big thanks to him and also my family, because they're also supporting, probably also watching this stream, and yeah, and
Hi, Petersons
huge thanks to them.
family.
Yeah, and yeah, he also was a good pilot. Like he was pushing me to be better because we wanted to beat each other, and at the start he was better, but then, like, the smaller brother wants to prove himself. I was training a bit more than him, I believe, and yeah, and we he actually won me in Ukraine World Cup. He won the first place, and yeah, that proves that, like, he's also a really fast pilot. But just he invested himself to me to make me fast, like to make me push the DCL. Yeah.
That's really good.
Does he remind you of that? Is he ever like, yeah, you wouldn't have done this without me?
No, he's really humble, and like, I'm looking up to him, so he never does that, but yeah, he always pushes me though, but like, okay, you don't come back if you're not first or something like that.
That's really nice. And what would you say your crazy moment in drones as a whole, but drone racing is? I mean, apart the wooden drone, I guess that's a story, but like a big crash or something that you remember.
Oh, there have been many actually. Well, one of the most adrenaline pushing moments were in all those. I think all the races were pretty big moments for me. Like 2019 was really a proud moment for me, because our aim with my brother was to make me in the first place in season standings in World Cups, and we succeeded in it. We won 4 World Cups in a row, and like, that was really proud moment for me and my brother. But like crazy moments, I would think in China when I tried to, I wouldn't say legally dive the building in Shanghai. At that time there were not that rules, but I think right now if I tried it wouldn't be that easy. But like the adrenaline pumping moment when you dive for like half a minute, like waiting, okay, I'm falling. But
Yeah.
but racing wise, I think it was 2019 also in Turin, when I was against Holdox in when we were. It was really, I think, one of the best races in DCL heat, and they were 2 in a row actually, and they were one. We won against him when we were like changing places all the time, but where I was faster in turns, but he was faster in straights, so he always overtook me in the last straight. So in big heat, it was like copy-paste moment where he overtook me in the last moment before the last gate. So it was a really special race, and that was a moment where I could prove Apex that I'm also fast, and they saw me that I'm fast. I think that was one of the reasons why I'm in why I got in Apex. Yeah.
Alex is back, and now is me, and I'm now him.
Wait.
According to Twitch.
I'm gonna change you.
I don't mind. I now race for XBlades. Cool.
Just keep talking while I'm doing this, everyone.
Sorry, no
Act
noticed,
normal.
Yeah.
This is the whole problem with
Don't
when
worry.
you do
Don't
a
worry about it, Joe.
Skype
Don't worry about it.
configuration. Anyway. Well, that's
Good to have you back, Alex.
That's really cool, though.
Yes, Nate.
Tomass.
I think it's about time that happened. I see you.
Well, that's really cool, though, that you've been able to go do so many things and see. No! He just got it back!
Right, it's fine, Jess. No. No! Oh, no, I'm the other way around.
That's good.
Yeah, everyone's good now.
Stop cutting me in half, Jess.
No, you're fine on my end. Now Alex is less fine, but we're good. Okay. And Alex, I had a question, but I forgot what it was. So Matt, do you have any questions?
Yes, Jess, I will jump in, Jess, and say. So, Alex, you'd had a few international events before your first race with DCL. Is that right?
Sorry, but my Wi-Fi is not good.
That's okay. Before you raced with us in 2018 in Munich, had you been overseas racing before? Or only in Spain?
Before the Munich.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it your first time racing overseas in another country?
Yeah, in Spain. My first race. I'm go to Barcelona. You know.
Yeah, I love Barcelona.
Yeah.
Yep.
But my first race in the drones is in Barcelona.
Ah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, a drone race in Barcelona. That would be great.
That must be a lot of fun. It's a beautiful city.
Around the Sagrada Familia. Wouldn't that be something? Let's go
That would be
flying.
so cool.
Never happen.
They would never let us.
My favourite building. So when you came over to Munich, that was your first time meeting XBlades in real life, Alex?
Yep.
So that must have been, a really big moment for you.
Yeah. I have a big experience.
Because it wasn't just your sort of team that was there, like I say, Juan Raya and Adam and so on, but Brett was there, Gary Kent was there, Luke was there, I think, as well.
Yep.
So, big name pilots were all racing there too. And Timothy Trowbridge back then as well. And we were, for those who haven't seen it, Munich, we're in the Olympic Park in Munich. So that's 1972 Olympics. Big Olympic Park, beautiful thing, nice green landscaping, big stadium, that sort of thing, and a lake. And we are racing. We've never done this. I think we've never done this since. We raced over the lake and over the ground as well. So it wasn't entirely over the water, but a lot of the track was over the water. And we actually had a bridge over the lake where spectators could stand, and the drones went over them and back underneath them. So it did like a split S around the spectators, which was awesome. And all that was netted off and so on because we're always safe. But yeah, we raced around that, and the stage for it was on the lake, on a pontoon sticking out on the lake, and all the pilots were on that stage. So you, Alex, were on a stage over a lake in an Olympic Park with families and spectators sat on the banks everywhere, all around watching this thing going on. That is a big deal for you. Were you excited? Were you nervous? What was Munich like for you?
In Munich, I so nervous because it's my first race with next place, and I'm so nervous. But in the race, I go focus.
And did you do well?
What?
Did you win?
In this race? Yeah.
There you go.
Do you still get nervous?
In Munich, yeah.
No, I mean, wait. I've got Google
mean now?
Translate out.
What about now,
Now.
Alex? This weekend, will you be nervous?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Still, you're one of the best pilots in DCL. I'm speaking strictly statistically. You win so many heats, and you
Hmm.
still get nervous.
probably more pressure when you are
Yeah.
faster and
Yeah.
people expect you to be faster. I think
That's true.
that gives more pressure on him. So
And there's
I believe
quite
it
a lot
doesn't
of
matter.
pressure. I think there's quite a lot of pressure on XBlades. Is it,
Yes.
Alex? Is it still true that you guys have a race in the team to find out who's going to race at the weekend? You have to compete for your places, yeah?
Yep.
So every time there's an event for DCL, the 4 pilots who are going to race in it are chosen through like a little competition between you.
Yep.
I mean, that's a big
That's-
deal because XBlades is a huge organization. I don't even know how many people are like in total on the XBlades roster. We here at the DCL, every team has to nominate. It's 12 pilots, isn't it, Jess? At the start of the season, and then that got refreshed at the midway point just recently.
Exactly.
But XBlades have more than those pilots outside of the DCL ones. There's a lot of people who want your spot, Alex, who want to race.
So yeah, I mean, racing for XBlades is probably a lot of pressure. They're constantly expected to win, I guess, because they win literally every time. I mean, the entire season. So, Thomas, last year you were part of a team who actually did, for a few races, manage to win against XBlades. Do you think that with drone sports this year, you guys will be able to bring the same energy and actually put them back in their place every now and then?
We definitely in drone sports have really good pilots there, like Atakan and Burkan by their nicknames. The A team is really strong. I think our B team should get their speed up, their pace up a bit, and I will probably join as a B team because I have been a bit a year off from DCL, but I'm slowly trying to get back on the training. I think for this race I will maybe not perform my best, but I hope for the last race I'll be on a pace. But I definitely think drone sports, if everything goes right, they can, and they're consistent, they can manage to fight XBlades. But it's just like XBlades have just a level up. Like the whole team is always on point, I think, and they also have a huge roster to choose from, and it's gonna be tough, but we're definitely gonna give everything which we got. We're practicing and trying to implement some things which I learned from Apex and to their team, and I think we're gonna give it a go to fight all the top 4 teams.
So we should explain, I think, Tomass, that in 2019 you were part of Drone Sports. That's what we mentioned with that season starting in Real Life Lax. And we hadn't seen Drone Sports before. You hadn't raced. You're our first pilot from Latvia. I think you may still be our only pilot from Latvia. Don't hold me to that. But you were there with Drone Sports, and Drone Sports were a team who didn't change their roster all season. So for all the races we did in 2019, it was the same 4 guys. There was you, there was Pavel, who we saw most recently racing with Quad Force 1 last season. Konstantin Kosolopov was there, who was still racing with Drone Sports last year, I think. And Platon Maximov was the 4th, wasn't he, alongside you guys. And then Drone Sports continued into 2020, but there was this big shock, which I know we talked about a little bit at the time, but that was a while ago. It was quite a big shock that Drone Sports went from a team, pretty much the only team, who had the same 4 pilots every race, to all of you being, most of you being switched out for someone else. So did you choose to leave, or can you give us some insight about what happened back then?
Yeah, at the time we were struggling in drone sports technically wise, but I mean it's just different budgets and everything, but the drone sports team is like really friendly and we had a good time. It's just we knew that if we want to continue to pursue to get the to pursue our interests, we had to try to get into teams which we think is gonna benefit us more. And I think the drone sports team understood that. So yeah, like Pavel's I would say style is more close to USA team. I felt like Apex is a team or the guys which I want to hang out also like the style with which they race, and which was like professional, and yeah, and that was just a move which we thought that we had to do to get the first place.
Yeah, so it was your decision.
It was
and
our
Apex was Apex was new in 2020. Was that right? Were you in
No, they were in 2019 already.
No, they were in 2019.
19 was the year where Apex and Drone Sports joined.
Yeah,
I think.
Sorry, yeah. So you transferred over to them, and you got to race alongside Andres Klein and Geordie and Eric, as you mentioned earlier on, and some other guys. Well, Marcus Spooner, who's still around, of course. So you had a great season. 2020 was fantastic. You guys were in a shout of being the world champions up until the last races on the last day. It was still in your hands. Obviously, you needed XBlades to have some problems, but you guys were really competing for that. You were runner up. Tomass, you are a runner up in the world championship. That's something you earn. So when Apex decided they weren't going to take part this year, what happened? How did you feel?
Like it was already in 2020 when we built a team for real races, and when the COVID came, we understood it's going to be sim. We tried to adapt to sim racing because Dane, me, Holdox is actually really good at sim also. It's just like we enjoy more real racing, and it's just like we are even better in real races like compared to sim. So I think in 2020, after the 2020 season, we understood that the team will benefit more in real races than the sim, because I was really burned out from the sim races also.
Oh yeah.
And it takes a lot of your time if you want to be in sim racing and real racing. And it's just it's a different world in sim compared to real. It's like the flying is close, but it's something. There's still like different style of flying, and that was Apex decision to skip the 2020 season.
Yeah.
But I'm missing the racing and decided to. I met Nifka in Turkey, and he proposed me to maybe I want to join the DCG for the remaining races, and here I am.
So it's a little bit of a homecoming, I think is how you described it to me, Jess, having you back on drone sports. I don't know if you can say this, Tomass. If you can't tell us, then that's fine. Obviously, some things are confidential within teams, but are you now permanently part of drone sports again, or a free agent, or where are you at?
It's I signed a contract for the remaining of this season for these races. The managers talk with each other, and I'm also talk with both managers, and we decided that it's good for the pilots to still race and to get that blood flowing, because if you don't race for too long, you forget what's racing really. And I believe if Apex is still gonna join for 2022, I'm still with Apex. But it's hard to tell what are the plans for 2020 due to COVID. But we'll see. Maybe even if it's gonna be sim season, maybe Apex will join. We haven't watched too far in the future yet, but
I mean,
Yeah.
I know we said that about this year, that it was going to be hybrid, and we genuinely, it was not something we just said. It was really planned, and you all know there's a pandemic. It was for the safety of everyone involved that we made the very difficult decision to not do a real life race this year. But it's definitely planned for next year. Again, unfortunately, this depends on the pandemic, but we're really, really, really all looking forward to when we do come back to real life racing. It will still be a combination of both, so we'll do a mix of virtual and reality, but we are definitely going to have real life races back, and we look forward to then having Apex back as well when that happens.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah. And like we had really strong team actually in 2020 with Andreas. Like the Dutch duo was really strong, and yeah, I think
How do you
we had
feel?
Holdux,
Oh, sorry.
Dane. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm trying to remember which. Oh, and also we had
Marcus Punja, no?
yeah, the legend, and I think Andreas. I think the whole roster except Holdux have switched the teams for this season.
Yeah, Marcus Punja
that's
is
right.
an SDT.
Yeah.
The Dutch duo stayed together. They're at Supersonic X.
Yeah.
And you're now at Transports. How does it feel that you're going to race against your old teammates?
It's actually nostalgic. Like we had a lot of struggles in 19, but I remember those memories. It's really good memories, and like I don't think we have the same roster now. None of the previous roster is still there, but the feeling is still the same. Like, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to race with them.
That's really awesome. Just a correction that someone said in the Twitch chat, which is that Mark is at Raiden. I thought SDT because anyway. But Alex, question for you. How do you feel about the move from live racing to virtual racing? So from racing in real life to racing in DCL the game, was that easy for you to adapt, or how did that go?
Excuse me, can you repeat me, please? My Wi-Fi is not good.
Okay. I'm going to try this in Spanish. I will attempt.
Oh.
¿Qué opinas del cambio a las carreras virtuales? Did I say that right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I really like the same of the real life. And in the DCL sim, I have practiced more hours to the real life because it's, in my opinion, it's more complicated. The DCL sim.
Okay.
The sim is more complicated.
Yep.
Interesting.
And do you feel like it's the same for everyone else in XBlades, or is this just for you?
That's for me.
Okay. How do you practice with your team? So with XBlades, do you practice all on the same day? You all go online and practice together, or everyone in their own time?
Yeah.
How does it work?
Yeah, practice together. All team. Yeah. Every week.
That's a lot of practice time.
So does XBlades have a like a time when you must practice? Do they tell you when you have to practice with the others?
A schedule.
Or Spanish for schedule, Jess?
That's what I'm looking for.
Oh. Jess, you've surprised all of us, by the way, with that excellent bit of Spanish just now.
Wait, okay, I've got this. Un horario for the practice.
Yeah.
When?
They do.
At 4 o'clock.
Mhm.
Every day or a few times a week?
Have 2 hour practice
On which
together.
which day?
In week. Every week.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
2 hour practice and no more.
and Tomass, do you guys practice in the same way?
Well, I joined the team a few days ago, and it's hard to tell how often they practice, but like this last week, which like is probably the most intense week where everyone start training more than usual, and like myself, I try to train every day, but because I have to get to those those pilot speeds, but I think with the team we now try to practice every day also, like at least 1 hour, because you can practice alone, but like the racing pace, like trying to understand the racing, like because qualifying and racing is a bit different. The pace is different there, and yeah, like 1 hour or 1.5 hour a day, and that's it. I don't think we need more, because then you start doing mistakes which you shouldn't do after 1.5 hours. But yeah.
So you yourself would say that you practice 1.5 hours per day every day?
Yeah, only the last week of before the race, but I think the other guys are not training that much, but only the last week. Like if it's like month from the race, they're probably not training every day, because it's gonna burn you out if you train every day like for a month, right? Maybe other pilots do it, I don't know, but that's how I feel like it.
I mean MCK, but MCK is a robot. We've established that.
Yeah. I mean MCK. By watching his stories, maybe it could be that he trains every day. So.
Alex, I'm gonna try this in Spanish again. I'm actually liking speaking Spanish, you know.
I'm looking forward to you doing the next question to Tomass in Latvian.
I have a base in Spanish, like I know how words are kind of supposed to be pronounced. I have zero base of Latvian. But Alex, ¿cuántas horas a la semana vuelas?
The DCL sim or the real life?
DCL sim.
More or less.
Yeah.
30, more or less.
That's more than my work.
Jess, what was the question?
It was how many hours per week do you fly?
Oh.
So to practice in the DCL sim.
Yeah.
In rough math, I think he flies more than you, Tomass.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I'm only. I feel a bit retired, not retarded.
Retired.
Yeah. But yeah, how to get those hours up, like Alex.
But if it doesn't work for you, like you said, Tomass, and you feel like if you do longer than an hour and a half in one session, it might actually be detrimental, then it's important to train in a way that works for you, and not just do the hours for the sake of it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. Like, depends on pilot. Like, some pilots feel like they gain more by flying the quality time. Some other pilots think that grinding with their way to getting that done. Like, it's just different approaches, different results.
Yeah.
I'm definitely the guy who would say quality over quantity for me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And when you're training, Tomass, do you do it all? I know you said, you did say you'd only just joined the guys recently. Do you like training with other people? Do you prefer to train by yourself? Do you train this weekend? Obviously, we're racing on tracks you don't know. It's lax, but you don't know the layout, and you won't find that out until much nearer the event. Do you practice in the surroundings of Lax, just to remind yourself where stuff is, or how do you approach things?
So yeah, when I joined the team, I already insisted the team to make. When I learned that there is a track editor, like because previously there wasn't any option like that, I insisted them to make tracks for practices so we can compare each other and also practice the tracks like where we haven't flew, because it was hard to compare also how you're flying, because like there are people who pilots who have flown the same track so many times and they're gonna be better with their muscle memory. But so we started making our tracks. So and it's better to fly with others, I think, especially if they're faster than you, because it pushes you to be faster. And so I would always recommend pilots flying with someone who's a bit faster than you, maybe. And I think it's better to fly with others.
Have you flown against the current team yet for Drone Sports?
Flow like in trainings?
Yeah, I know. As you say, you've only been there a couple of days, but have you had the chance?
Yesterday we had a practice 1.5 hours on a new track, and we could I couldn't understand that their pace is good. Like I was surprised how fast is Atakan, and Burkan is also there, and it's pushing me faster because I feel like I'm a bit too behind. But I hope in those last 2 days of before the race I'll be ready.
I'm just wondering how you've been faring alongside them. Whether you feel like you're keeping up with them, or whether they're trying to keep up with you.
I'm sorry.
I was wondering if you'd raced them, whether you were keeping up with them or whether they were trying to keep up with you.
No, it's definitely I'm trying to keep up with them. Like I think I'm third fastest pilot on the team right now.
Who's the fastest?
I think Atsukan is the fastest. Like I'm pretty sure, and then there's Burkan, and then there's me, and I hope there's
Gennadi's coming as well.
Like I think Yukhti or Gennady or Nifka could be around the same pace as me or even faster. I think it depends on the track and the day, but I feel I haven't got my mojo back for the race, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's very honest of you, and that's good to hear. I really hope you do. Because Tomass, you were always such a good performer with them, and I can't say I ever got to know drone sports very well when we were at real life events because, for a start, language issues, to be honest. But you always looked like you were enjoying yourself. You always looked like you were part of the team. But I must admit, it looked like you were enjoying yourself more when you were with the Apex guys last season. So I really hope you find a really good home within a team.
I mean, with Apex, we never got to the real races, so we only met in online conferences. But still, I felt like Apex style meets my style. But I would say with the Russian team, I still felt like really like at home. Like I do speak also Russian, I understand Russian, so I could. I never told them. Only in Italy, I showed them that I know Russian. So they all the time they talked in Russian. They thought I don't understand them, but I understood everything they told. But it was I still remember as a good times with them. So just different teams.
Yeah.
And
yeah, also Pavlos was a really fun guy to hang out with. So yeah.
Seems like it. Alex, who is currently the fastest in XBlades?
What?
I've got this. ¿Quién es el más rápido de tu equipo?
Now?
Yeah, at the moment.
Been checking.
Still.
We'll check him. Never heard of him.
Okay, who's number 2? Número 2.
I think me.
Yes, Alex. Yes.
Nice.
My opinion.
That's a fist bump.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, yeah, I mean, that's a really honest and great answer from you. Well done, Alex, because you work hard as part of this team. So good for you.
I think I always see Alex as kind of an. I don't think there's anyone underrated in XBlades, but when names are thrown around, MCK is obviously the one that comes up a lot, and Ashton Gamble has this kind of big personality as well. But Killian and Alex are there in the background, but they're doing the work, because you look at the stats in like the past race. I think Killian was the one actually behind MCK who held the most records, and Alex, you're really not far behind. So yeah, it's usually between Minjae and Minchan, but every now and then. Oh, to be fair, Reuter was Thunder FPV's race. Like, he absolutely smashed a lot of records.
That's right, Vincent.
Vincent Myers did really well. But within XBlades, I think Alex's name is not mentioned often enough of how great of a contributor you are to the team. I mean, it shows. If you guys have to race every time to qualify, I think you've flown every single race, at least since I joined. In 2020 we flew everything, in 21 you flew everything, so you're obviously one of the best. Do you think you can beat Minchan one day? Alex?
Hello?
Can you beat Minchan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I look forward to that.
You're right, Jess. I do agree with you. I think MCK gets talked about. I think Ashton, as you say, you described it perfectly. Big personality. I completely agree with you. I do feel like the other guys on the team may get overlooked a little bit by sort of people reflecting on team performances. I know as a commentator, I love talking about all the guys on XBlades, including you, Alex, because you are all such incredible pilots. And I give nothing but praise to all of you. It's a team sport. You can't do well in this event with somebody who wins all their races if they don't have teammates who win all of theirs as well. And XBlades have been so dominant, winning every single season. And you have been a part of a few of those seasons now, Alex. You're a world champion. You may be a multiple-time world champion. You could be a 2-3-time world champion throughout, DCL. The other guys can't do it without you. And, as I said, on XBlades, you guys have to compete for that chance to be on the starting roster. So you show again and again and again how hungry you are for this, and you earn it. It's good for you, Alex.
Thank
you. Tomass, who would you say is, I mean, like we said, we think MCK is usually the person referred to, but is there any other pilot that you would say you look up to within the DCL?
I mean, I wouldn't say at this point I'm looking up to someone, but if I have to say if someone is the fastest pilots like in DCL, I haven't been following this season, but I remember that Killian, Minchan, the Thunder, I remember those three guys were. Also, Minjae was pretty fast. Remember, I don't know how fast these guys are right now, but
they're all still the fastest.
They're so really fast. I also remember Andreas was like really close to them, fighting them. Could be ruin some heat, but yeah, like after like Turkish World Championship, which we had few weeks ago, Killian also showed that she's really fast pilot, and I think the XBlades have gathered a really good team with Alex, Minchan, Killian, and Ashton Gamble.
Yeah.
I feel like in.
What do you mean you haven't been following this season?
I mean, I have been following some heats, but I haven't been following the times which they are getting. That it's. I haven't been following the points, like who is the fastest. Like XBlades 20 points above the Thunder. Like I'm rooting for Raiden, like because someone has to beat them, and I feel Raiden could be the ones which could deny XBlades the season. So.
Yeah, no Thunder.
Yeah, but they're tied. They are tied, which is so exciting and not something we really ever see. Yeah.
I mean, XBlades slightly above because more heat points, but yeah, they're basically tied.
Don't spoil it, Jess.
Well,
they're tied.
There's a podium on the website that you can see.
No, they have the same points, Jess. They're tied for the lead.
That is true. They are tied for
they
now.
Have big 500 points each. And Raiden are winning the DCL Women's Cup at the moment over XBlades too. So,
yeah, Raiden made a clean sweep of Reuter. That was really impressive.
Yeah.
So, I guess with both of you, so you've been seeing obviously the female pilots who are women as a large sense competing in the Women's Cup, and do you kind of feel like they're up to the level and that you're going to see them soon flying in the World Championship as well?
I can start first. I mean, like 2 years ago, I saw there already were female pilots which were competing against world championships against the guys. Like I remember Leo, Far, Milk. These are the girls which were showing that they can get to the semifinals or finals. And I also remember there was some Korean girl also. I don't remember the name of her, but she also proved that she's. Yeah, could be. And I have seen in my time that they were really good female pilots. So I'm for sure think that they can prove that they can make it to the real races. Just need to train and grind till your fingers fall off. And I think also I heard Rue was fast.
Rue's brilliant.
I need to follow more, but I heard some names around. So yeah, definitely there's a room for girls.
And Alex, you've practiced with Luisa and Leon Fire and July FPV. Have they been doing well in practice with you?
Yeah.
Do you think that Luisa has a chance to win in the next race?
Yeah. I think Luisa win because so fast. Yeah.
Do you train all together, Alex? Do the women pilots train with you in the XBlade sessions?
Yeah, I win Luisa.
Yeah, so you know how fast she is.
Does she ever beat you?
What?
Does she ever win against you when you race? In practice, if you race against Luisa, does she ever go faster than you?
No.
No.
Does she get close?
Luisa's go fast. Very go fast.
I mean,
I'm very good.
Probably if Alex makes a mistake, crucial mistake, I'm pretty sure she can use that in her advantage to beat him.
Yeah. Everyone makes mistakes, I guess.
No.
Cool.
I mean, what we're doing with the Women's Cup is so important, and it has been really well received by the community, which I think is fantastic. And it's no surprise to hear that the women pilots are competing with their teams. I cannot wait for the day when we are doing a DCL event and we have women pilots in the World Championship lineups again. We had them before. Like, this is not a new thing. We had Julie racing in 2017 back with IRC. You know, we had women pilots a long time ago. And I've always said the DCL Women's Cup is not just a secondary tournament to give them something to do. Women have always been welcome on the DCL main rosters. Obviously, you have teams like XBlades where everybody has to compete for those spots to be on that 4 pilots. I can't wait until we've got women pilots back in the main lineups again, because I think we're on the brink of it, Jess. I think it'll happen soon. You know, we could see Evan, for example, racing as part of the Raiden lineup. I think.
I almost worry that Evan is not in the World Championship because she's doing such a clean sweep of the Women's Cup that they've decided that. That's what I kind of. I mean, I have no idea what's going on at racing. This is pure speculation on my behalf. Yes. I apologize to Raven if I'm completely wrong here. But she is really, really good.
Who are the top?
Sorry?
Who are the top 3 in the Women's Cup right now?
So right now, Evan is winning. Luisa only got 1 race because Julie got the other. But if you look at speeds and things, Luisa was the one who was closest to Evan. Although Julie did win 1. Evan made a mistake and Julie did indeed capitalize on it. So from XBlades as well. And second, I think, is Siyun from Supersonic. Third is Siyun from Supersonic X, if I am not mistaken.
Evan has been pretty much untouchable, actually. But you're right, Louisa gave her a good race, and so have some of the other pilots. But if you just look at the wins they do 4 big heats every time we have a race day. You know, they're clocking up the wins. We've got Rue coming in on Sunday. We've got a change of Women's Cup pilot on this weekend for Quad Force 1.
Nakaractra.
Yeah, so she's coming in on Sunday, but we still have Susan is still going to be racing on Saturday, which is exciting, I think, and seeing more people and what they can do.
Yeah, and Louisa's back because Julie, like I said, was last time for XBlades. No, there's a lot of talent in the different teams, and so it's nice to see a few women racing as well. I feel like I can maybe try one day.
Is that your dream, Jess? Is that your dream?
My dream is hosting a show dressed as a cat, so I'm pretty much there, living it.
And my dream is to pretend to be Alex Zamora from XBlades Racing. So.
We're all living our dream today.
Yeah.
Someone else heard some new pilots for the World Championship. There are indeed. There was a free pick process in October where the teams could pick up to 2 new pilots for their team. So as Matt said earlier, teams had to announce 12 pilots of a shortlist for their roster for the beginning of the season. And in the second draft process, they picked, based on loads of criteria, could pick up to 2 extra pilots. So Tomass, who is here today, was picked by Drone Sports. There's another pick at Drone Sports as well. I do not have the list right now, which is really bad. So I know
Gennady Fomin is back.
But that's the race. I'm talking about the free picks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I know XBlades recruited 2 new people as well, so Marv and Neukal, I think.
Yeah.
And there's another team that recruited. And STD also. SDT, Spain drone team recruited Marcel. So there. So those are the new picks, and so in terms of the rosters for the actual race, so Tope, like we said, is back, and so who did you say switched, Matt?
Sorry, Gennady Fomin's back racing again for Drone Sports, who we've had before. Marcel is back for SDT.
I think.
Are you talking about?
Yeah, the pilots racing this weekend. There's a switch on Quad Force 1 as well. I think there's someone who has not. But
you've got Rue and the Women's Cup pilots are different each day.
Yeah. And the World Championship, I think there's a switch as well.
And Colby's back. Colby's back for Quad Force 1.
Back. So yeah, you will see this weekend a few new or returning faces, so that's going to be exciting as well. Another reason to
What?
tune in.
What was the roster for the USA?
You tell it? Oh, it's public actually. Yeah, it's public now.
Yeah,
isn't
it is
Yeah, we can
public.
tell
It
you.
went public today.
Hot Force One's roster: Levi Johnson, Cal Reef-Snyder's racing again. Silas Aaron is captain again, of course, and Colby Katola is back.
And a
So,
switch. Is there a switch
mean,
on Sunday?
I don't remember.
Ah, okay. Sorry, Tomass, you had a question.
I'm hard to like in drone community. I don't know the real names of the pilots mostly. I just know them by nicknames. So I think
know
it was
some of them.
Propsicle.
Yeah.
It was SFPV. Who are the other two by
Leviathan,
nickname?
right?
Mm-hmm.
And wait, I know these. Wait, who can you say the list from the beginning again? I think I know all the FPV.
Propsicle, SFPV, Leviathan,
and who's
Who
the
was
other
the
one,
fourth?
Matt?
Cal Reef-Snyder.
Oh, Fidical. Someone. I'm cheating. Star just said it.
No, you did well.
Fidical. Okay. I'm just trying to understand how hard it's gonna be, like, to beat them.
I do not. Yeah, do not underestimate any of these teams. I mean, we're giving you the US lineup, but all of them are very impressive. You know, your ex-teammates from Apex are back as well at Supersonic X, and you know the Dutch duo, they are very impressive. So, Adres and Jordi will be on it, as well as obviously Minjay is in that team as well. So you have some very strong contenders. Supersonic X, Raiden, having one writer, obviously has a very strong team. So also one to watch out. Obviously we know about XBlades, but I feel like we know about XBlades and we can just... but China Dragons is also, I know they've been grinding quite hard, and we've been seeing some of their names in the DCL, the game, kind of rankings coming up, so they're also kind of on it. I mean, there's really... it can still go any way. I honestly think with these races, that's what I find really exciting about it, is every time it starts, they're favorites, but you don't necessarily, like, you can't be 100% sure who is definitely going to win, and there are always surprises.
And Tomass, this is your first time racing in our new format, of course, because all the times you've been involved before, when we used to do the knockout series, you know, we'd have qualifying, fastest would race against the 8th place team and so on. We'd have quarterfinals and semi-finals, and the teams are getting knocked out. Of course, when you were racing with Apex, you did tend to make it to the final, but you raced only a couple of teams along the way. So this weekend, you're going to race everybody. You're going to be up against lots of different pilots and lots of different combinations. How does that change things for you? Does that make a difference to you at all?
I mean, I don't understand fully the format yet, but by what I heard, I think it's gonna be, what I understood, it's gonna be a lot better for all pilots, because it's just more fun to fly against, like, the teams which are not only top field teams, also the middle field teams, because it's just because middle field teams were always eliminated in the start, because they were from the start against the top teams, and and I think for DCG especially, like, we understand that we are not top field team yet, but it's gonna be more fun to fight against middle field teams between and I think realistically our aim is to get 4th, and by this new format I think it's more realistic to do it, and more enjoyable.
And Alex, I got this.
Yep.
¿Qué equipo tiene más ganas de competir?
In this season?
Yeah. Well, for the next race.
I think Raiden.
Okay.
Ooh.
which team he's looking forward to racing the most.
XBlades. My team.
Yeah, of course. But so you think you're competing with Raiden then? And Tomass, who do you say would be the main competitor of drone sports at the moment to kind of get that 4th place?
I don't fully know all the lineups for all teams, but I feel like XBlades and the Korean team Velo, if I'm correct.
Supersonic X this year.
Supersonic X.
Yeah, they changed.
That's right.
Yeah,
They were Falcons
Supersonic
before
X,
when they were actually. I said they were Veloce when they started in 2019. No, they were Falcons.
No, they
Back
started
in 2019
no,
when we were on a
no.
mountain, and then they were Veloce. Now they're Supersonic X.
They were Veloce first, and then they were Falcons, and now they're Supersonic X.
That's right.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay, but
That's why I'm not the host anymore.
XBlades, Supersonic, those Quad Force, Raiden, those teams are really hard to beat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not. It's gonna be, if everything goes right, maybe we can beat. I think maybe in Western Koreans or Quad Force, if because maybe they will not be as consistent, and so we can use the mistakes. So their mistakes as our advantage. But if everything goes correct for them, it's gonna be hard for us to beat them. So we're gonna try to get the 5th or 4th place to be the best middle field or team. What is there? But we're definitely aiming to beat also top field teams. Give it our best. So yeah. So I think Koreans or Americans is our team to beat.
I mean, that would be a great performance actually for drone sports, because they as a team, regardless of who was flying on it, as a team, drone sports, they went out of a lot of quarterfinals in the old format. So if drone sports knock out teams like Quad Force or Supersonic X or something like that, or not necessarily knock out, but perform higher than them, that'd be a brilliant achievement. I think that's a really good thing to aim for. We've got Tope in the chat who's just asked when the next race is. I see DCL's responded to you. Next race is this weekend.
Yep.
From 11 a.m. Oh, sorry, 11:00 UTC.
That's 11 a.m.
Yeah, but we have
How
to
long
rate
is
it
the
over.
race?
How long is the race? Depends how long you take.
It's basically
It's up to you, isn't it?
Okay.
So we've actually changed the format a little bit as well. We've already mentioned it's different to previous years in that it's now a round robin and every team race every other team. But Jess, the previous drone Grand Prix that we were having were reaching the sort of 8-hour mark in total.
It was long.
And we know that was a bit demanding on everybody watching, as well as the competitors.
As well as you. You have to talk the whole time.
Yeah, that's true.
I was just there like, how?
Well, they keep me going because they're so exciting to watch. But yes, we've changed it a little bit. Obviously now we have 2 events in a weekend, whereas before it was only 1. So we will be live from 11 a.m. UTC on Saturday and Sunday. Clocks change on Sunday, so don't be late. But to make, rather than having 2 big 8-hour events, one on Saturday and one on Sunday, Jess, we've cut some bits out to make it a bit sharper.
Yes. So the main thing that's changed is that in the round robin format, so the kind of what I always refer to as the group stage, all the teams race all the teams, and before it was 2 heats of 2v2, and then they switched to the 2 other pilots because each team is composed of 4 pilots. So now it will be 1 heat of each 2v2. So that's 2 heats total per round robin. Obviously, out of competition, we would love to see the pilots fly more. We would all, but for the sake of timing, it's true that it was very long for everyone involved, and so this way, yes, there are less heats, but it still keeps the competition alive, and everyone's completely agreed to the changes, so we're just excited to see everyone race.
How it's gonna be like? Is it gonna be one? So it's gonna be only 1 track? There's 1 heat only? Or
no, so there are 2 tracks per race day, so that's a total of 4 tracks on the entire weekend. So I'm assuming it's going to be 1 day track, 1 night track, because Filippo loves doing the switch between day and night. Always looks great as well.
Yeah.
Especially on Lax. On Lax it looks very cool.
But but if there is 2v2 and each pilot races only once, so how it's gonna be? So how are you gonna decide which track are you gonna fly? Like,
so you and a
randomly.
teammate are going to race 2 pilots of another team.
Yeah.
And then your other 2 teammates will race the other 2 pilots of that team. And both of those races will be on one of the tracks. And then in the next stage of the round robin, or at a later stage of the round robin, you and a teammate will race 2 members of a different team. But that might be on the other track. So both tracks are going to take turns switching around as we go.
So
it's random, okay.
Yeah, there's no... I mean, DCL semi... I think we just throw a dice to see which round is which track, because we don't tell the teams in advance. But essentially it will be round 1 will be track A, round 2 will be track B, round 3 will be track A. And so you, in each round 1, for argument's sake, round 1 you race against XBlades on track A, round 2 you race against Raiden on track B, and you that keeps switching. I don't know how often exactly it's switched. I don't know if it's round 1, 2, 3 it's track A, and then round 4, 5, 6 it's track B. I
think we may be trying that this weekend, but
okay.
it works out fairly however we do it.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the same challenge, everybody's got the same practice time, everybody's got the same warm-up time, everybody's got the same chance to fly on the tracks.
Yeah.
We unlock those new tracks for everyone to practice on, and the teams who are racing later in the day, they don't get extra practice time on them because then we lock those tracks again, so they can't use them. And Star 23467 is in our chat saying, with warm up and free practice it stays a long day for pilots. Yeah, it does. So we're making the show a little bit tighter. It means all the pilots have got, that kind of one time against this opposition to show us what you've got, and then in the next round you'll get another go against a different team. We love the races. We'd like to have as many races as possible. This seems like a good way of getting some really good, exciting races, with also, making it a weekend event rather than just one long day.
Yeah.
Alex, I actually want to know what you think of the format this year compared to last year. So last year, you had quarterfinal, semi-final, final, but this year you have round robin and then small final, grand final. Which one do you prefer?
This year.
Yeah?
Yep.
More races?
I like.
So,
more.
Because you get to race against every single team. Who's your favorite team to race against?
My favorite team?
Yeah. To race.
Yeah. XBlades.
No, but
Just
of other DCL teams, who do you like racing against when you go into a race? Which team are you like, yes, I'm happy?
I don't understand you.
I'm going to... Tomass, you can answer this, I guess, based on your experience last year. What would you say your favorite team to race against is?
I would say it's probably Team USA, because we are on the same pace, and when I was, and also against XBlades, it was pretty fun to race against because it was really always tight in points. And I remember in the USA tracks, we even managed to beat them, and I think it was one of my biggest highlights to race against XBlades in the USA track, where we managed to get the first place with the FX team. And yeah, I would say these two teams are the ones which I had fun to race against, but right now it's going to be probably, I think China Dragons is the 5th place, right?
Probably.
Yeah, so I would say right now
everyone
it's
can see your message, Matt, just so you know.
so
Oh yeah.
probably
Oh no. That's excellent,
so
isn't it? Yeah, I do actually. I need to look after my son. Sorry.
How dare you have a life?
Oh, you'll get sick of me by the end of the weekend.
Never, Matt, never. Thanks so much. So I'll ask Alex the same question in Spanish. So Alex, ¿cuál es tu equipo favorito contra el que competir? So when you race, which team are you happy, like when you race them?
In this year or?
Yeah, this year.
Supersonic.
Oh.
It's a good choice.
Yeah.
Muy bien. Very good team. I guess the last quick question is something that I like knowing. What piece of advice would you give to someone who's starting out in drones, who wants to start drone racing but has no idea where to start? What would you give them as advice? Tomass?
Advice for the people who are just starting racing?
Yeah, or just piloting in general.
I think the main thing is just to have fun. Don't frustrate yourself too much. If it's racing, if it's freestyle, it's already nothing to teach. It's just accept that you're gonna sit and repair your drones 50% of your time. It's normal. It's everyone does that, even MCK. So yeah, just enjoy your time. Don't take it too seriously. Yeah, that's it.
And Alex, ¿qué consejo le darías a alguien que recién comienza a competir?
Can you tell me in English, please?
I knew my Spanish wasn't good enough. The advice, if for someone who's starting, what would you tell them? A piece of advice, something to help them.
Okay. Trying very hard every day, trying. Very disciplined, you know. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, have disciplined.
Discipline, yeah.
No. Okay, go trying every day, and try a lot.
Don't be afraid to crash, I guess.
Discipline, I think, is what he was saying,
Yeah.
Alex. Yeah, a lot of practice, and yeah, don't give up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great advice, always. Thank you everyone for joining us. Unfortunately, people have other engagements. I need to eat, to be fair, Matt, it's not just you.
Yeah.
So, Twitch chat, we appreciate your support as always. Thank you so much for joining us. Before I say goodbye to everyone, I'm going to do the usual plugging of our event. Matt, would you like to promote the upcoming race?
Why not, Jess? Why not? Yes, we're coming back with the virtual Drone Grand Prix of Lax in Switzerland. Lax, where we raced in 2019 on top of a mountain, 2,252 metres above sea level. We're doing it virtually, but on 2 new tracks, and we're doing it on 2 days. So the next virtual Drone Grand Prix in Lax in Switzerland, it's this Saturday, the 30th of October, and this Sunday, the 31st of October. Both of those races will be live to you on Twitch with all of our teams. 2 separate events. A Drone Grand Prix on Saturday and a separate one on Sunday, both of them worth full points for the World Championship, and of course a DCL Women's Cup on each day as well, both of them scoring up points towards the DCL Women's Cup for 2021. So 2 complete events in one weekend, a big doubleheader for you. And it's all going to be live from 11 a.m. UTC on Saturday and Sunday. That's 12 p.m. in the UK. That is 1 p.m. Central European time on Saturday. But the clocks change on Sunday. And if you're one of those countries, then make sure you join us a little bit earlier on Sunday.
Thank you, Matt. So today we had as wonderful guests Tomass Peterson, aka Tope, who's at Drone Sports Global, who will be racing this weekend. And we also had the amazing Alex Zamora, Alex FPV from XBlades Racing, who will also be racing this weekend. So we look very much forward to seeing both of you send it. As usual, you know, follow us on all the socials and Discord and those places where you can get the most up-to-date information of all things DCL. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thanks to all three of you. Oh yes, of course, thank you to the amazing co-host, Mr. Matt Andrews.
Alex Zamora.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you as well, and we look forward to hearing you
Thank you, Jess.
enthusiastically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait. Come and join us for the weekend, everybody. Live on Twitch, 11 a.m. UTC, your time, wherever you are, on Saturday and Sunday. Thank you very much. Try to be nice. That's an extremely lovely thing to say in the chats. Thank you very much. And QT and everybody, can't wait to be bringing you the action from these guys and many more, and our women's pilots as well. And can I just say quickly as well, there's a few people in the chat here who I know from my streams too, and I know it's been a while. They're coming back this week. Thanks for all the support. It means a lot.
Can we all do a little heart thingy just so I can screenshot this at some point for something? Alex, please, can you do a little heart? Corazon!
Yeah.
Right. Bye everyone!
Bye.